Hey guys, how's it going? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why Aurora should not sell off their TGOD share, the rest of their TGOD stock. So there was an article on Seeking Alpha saying Aurora should dump its remaining green organic Dutchman shares. There's something off about this article, but so this article states that Aurora sold another 4.5 million shares, reducing its stake to 29 million shares, representing an 11% ownership in TGOD. He's stating that Aurora is not going to need it because they just purchased out Whistler Medical, and Whistler Medical is a organic company. But I honestly believe that Aurora should not sell off TGOD stock because in the future, if Aurora wanted to, they can use that their 11% position to try to take out TGOD as a company, possibly. But on top of that, TGOD stock might go up in value over time. The only reason why I think Aurora sold more TGOD stock is because they didn't know that they were gonna get an additional $350 million from from the convertible debenture. So they were selling off TGOD stock for money, but then they found out that they were getting $350 million US dollars to through convertible debentures. So they don't need to sell TGOD stock. They can hold it for a long term and possibly sell it in a couple years when the company fully built out. The stock should be valued a lot more. So the thing that's off about this article is it says on January 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, they sold the stock. But the weird thing about the selling of the stock is you notice that the price is very weird, and the chart shows something completely, like on January 11, 2009, it says that they sold 1.5 million shares at $2.48. TGOD stock on January 11th was $3.05. So they sold TGOD stock $2.48, but on that day, TGOD stock was $3.05. So that is kind of weird. So yeah, that's kind of weird. It's just ramped up, and they sold it at $2.48. So something's off here. Something is weird and off, and it makes no sense in this article. So I don't 100% trust this article, but if they did sell off 4.5 million shares, they probably did it because they needed money. But at the end of the day, since Aurora just got $350 million US dollars, they don't need to sell off the TGOD stock anymore. So that's a good positive sign. Today, Aurora stock volume is weak. The volume is definitely getting lower day by day. Today was very weak compared to yesterday. Volume is dropping off again. And the stock price is remaining high just because Canopy is kind of holding up the company. And I guess I want to there's a little thing I kind of wanted to talk about. So on January 16, 2009, Aurora announced this convertible debentures. They probably were just aware of this convertible debentures a couple days before. So probably on Tuesday or Monday, they probably aware of the convertible debentures. So them selling around January 11th to January 8th, they were probably not aware of their convertible debentures. Yeah. So that's what I'm assuming. TGOD stock. I was hoping the stock would go to $2. It still may, but right now it's unless the weed market crashes again. I think that the weed market will eventually crash again, but and I think it's gonna happen within February. Sometime in February, probably near I think the beginning of February is going to be very volatile, and around mid-February is when the weed market is going to start crashing again. It's just my opinion though, so I could totally be wrong, but I think around the big player earnings like Aurora and Canopy earning, I think the stock market is going to start crashing. So that's just my opinion though. Radiant Technologies industry. I don't have any shares right now, but I've been camping the stock. You know, I just playing the. I don't think this company will ever go bankrupt simply because, you know, Aurora has an investment in it. They don't actually grow product, and you know what the company's business model is to receive product, so they only make money if they get customers, and they lose money from their liabilities like employees and keeping the building up. But since cannabis is legal now, they're probably getting a ton of business, and eventually when they announce the earnings, it will get reflected on the balance sheet, on the income statement, so the revenue and profit. So I'm looking forward to that. Joom, another company that I am thinking that, because Joom hasn't had any news for a long time. Last news was December 11, 2018. So they haven't had big news for a long time. So I'm assuming that they will have news coming up very soon, and that might pop the stock. But I could be wrong, and it could go back to 40 cents. Hemco, another company that is owned by Aurora. See, Hemco will never go bankrupt. Aurora owns 52% of the company. I believe that eventually Aurora will just take out Hemco and merge it within their company. But it's just my opinion. You know, I think it will eventually happen, but it will take a while. Canopy, very, very, very weak volume today, and the stock is rising, so it's not a good sign. January's ending soon. I really kind of want to short the stock. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'd like physically short it, not just put options. So I'm thinking about it. I don't know if my bank will even allow me, but I'm really thinking about it. Maybe I'll do like a couple hundred shares short on it. Just play around with it. Because there is some factors that's on my side right now, like low volume. Yeah, the volume seems very, very low right now. Compared to, you know, yesterday and even the day before. The morning kind of tells the story. I mean, the volume could pick up. It's still another 3 hours and 30 minutes before the market officially closes. So the market could pick up again, but you know, we'll see. Aphria is up today, big time. Decent volume. I have no idea why it's up. There's no news on it. This was GGB. Green Growth Brands. Green Growth Brands is down big time, which is weird. Aphria stock is up big time, but Green Growth Brand stock is down big time. So I find that kind of weird that the Green Growth Brand is doing the opposite of Aphria. LHS is just hanging out there, not really doing anything. Could be a good swing trade stock. It's just my opinion though. Cron is, I don't understand why it's rallying, but Cron and Aphria is both rallying pretty nicely right now. The market cap is getting kind of ridiculous on Cron because Cron is getting diluted by 40% of their stock. So 40%, so that's like 200. So their market cap right now is around $6 billion, about $6 to $7 billion right now. Very, like, just really close behind Aurora. They have nowhere near the production of Aurora, but they do have $2 billion and Aphria partnership, which is pretty big in my opinion. I wish I bought some at but oh well, I didn't. Hopefully Cron pulls back on earnings, because I think Cron earnings is gonna be bad. But Organigram also had pretty bad earnings. I mean, it's okay. Their cost to grow is really cheap. $12 million, not a lot of money for a company that has a market cap of, you know, $958 billion, but low cost to produce, low cost for all in, like a finished product, like 84 cents. It's pretty nice. But you know, the stock ran, and I don't think it should have, but it did, because I guess the entire cannabis industry was green. Today, 1 cent pullback, which is not a big deal. Nbev had a nice run today. They had some big news saying that, you know, announced global expansion of non-coagulating beverage following a record sale results in initial markets. Yeah, you guys can read this article for yourself if you want. It's this is the reason why it popped. I did a put option on Nbev because, you know, I think that's gonna pull back to $6 eventually, $6.50. You know, easy swing trade play. So let's see what happens. The faster it pulls back, the better. So if it pulls back like big time in like by tomorrow, I can sell it, take my profit, and wait for it to go back up again. Or I could do a call option on it, because I've never done a call option on Nbev. So Nbev goes back to 6.50-ish. I can do a call option on it. So the market today is extremely green. You know, Fed came out and says that no interest rate move until at least June. So they're gonna watch the market for a while and not gonna raise interest rate. I think if they do raise interest rates in June, the stock market is gonna get hit big time in June. So we'll see what happens. High interest rates will cause the market to go very volatile. But Trump is going to try to do whatever he can to save the market, because he needs the market to be green and great for him to become president again. AMD. I wasn't wrong on AMD. I was right on AMD. I was right about their guidance. I was right about... Okay, I was a little bit wrong about the net income. I thought the net income was lower. The revenue was lower. The net income was high because they were selling high margin products, and they had a high gross margin for this quarter. They were profitable about 8 cents. I did not predict that. I predicted the lower revenue. I predicted first quarter guidance to be low, but AMD came out and they announced that, you know, back half of 2019 was going to be a great year, which caused the stock to go up. That was the biggest factor, because their guidance for the back half of the year, a strong 2009 outlook. I did say that I believe that 2019 would be a strong year for AMD. I knew that Q1 was going to be a bad quarter. I was gambling on Nvidia and Intel announcing bad numbers for AMD to kind of follow the trend, but it did the exact opposite and it rallied up. Could have did a call option just to protect myself on my put options, because, you know, there was a chance that this might happen, and I could have made a pretty big coin off of it and made up the differences for my puts on AMD, but I didn't, and I was gambling for the stock to really go down. I should have did the opposite. I should have not got too greedy, and I should have did a call option on AMD near the end of the day. I was thinking about it, but I didn't do it because my mind was so bearish on AMD because of Intel and Nvidia. Kind of lost out on it, so oh well. Nvidia, and then, you know, another reason why AMD stock is up so much is because of Zen 2 is going to be a 16-core processor for consumer use, and it's going to be competing with Intel's high end, and it's going to, you know, Intel has no way of competing with AMD when it comes to Zen 2. Zen 2 is going to kick Intel's butt every single way. Maybe single core, single thread processing Intel might still have an advantage there, but AMD is going to kick butt with the Zen 2, and Intel has no way to combat AMD in the back half of the year because Intel has some internal problems with the manufacturing and the chip design, which is going to take years to work out. But right now, 2019 is looking very strong for AMD, and if the market does not crash and the market keeps rallying, then I believe that AMD could see $30-$40 possibly by the end of this year. We'll see what happens though, but that is basically pure gambling because the market still could crash. Even if AMD have compelling products, it does not mean the stock will be reflected big time for that. We'll see what happens though. So I'm looking forward to AMD throughout the year when they launch their new products. Nvidia is kind of up today. People is like really bearish on Nvidia. Nvidia has a huge problem. The Pascal architecture is so powerful that people don't see a reason to upgrade, and the new technology, ray tracing, there's like barely any games out there for ray tracing, so there is no need to upgrade to the latest video card, and that is a big problem for Nvidia. The 970 and the 980 was so, like between the difference between a 980 and a 1080 was so big. Like the 1080 was 2 times more powerful than the 980. That's why the 1080 did so well and sold so well. But because it was so powerful that people needed to upgrade, or they should upgrade because the improvements was so dramatic between the 980 and the 1080 of Nvidia's video card. That's the reason why Nvidia did so well. And there was the Bitcoin craze. That's why the stock was like $300 because they were selling so many video cards, and they reported so good numbers that, and then when they launched their new architecture, their new video cards, people were not impressed. Ray tracing was a flop because there was no games really utilizing it, and on top of that, you can't really notice the difference between ray tracing and non-ray tracing unless you really paid attention. So that's why Nvidia stock is taking a huge hit, because they rely on the video cards so heavily, and their guidance is probably going to be bad because nobody really wants a ray tracing video card. So their ray tracing video card is going to do poorly, and that's going to be reflected throughout the entire year. And then AMD could take advantage of that with their Navi GPU that they're going to be launching in the back half of the year, because AMD is going to be launching both Navi and Zen 2 in the back half of the year, and that's going to really destroy Nvidia's market share if Navi became a big competitor and a really compelling price point with really good performance. AMD could take the crown away from both Nvidia and Intel in the back half of the year and really destroy the competition. That's why I'm kind of bullish on AMD. But I'm hoping AMD pulls back a little bit before I start buying back in. I could buy back in now, and if it pulls back a little bit, I can add more. And then if it pulls back a little bit more, I can add more. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to do that. We'll see. Apple Apple went up big time. I would definitely not buy more Apple stock because, you know, I don't see Apple going back to $230. I just don't see it. There's a slow growth in smartphones. If you know if the iPads and all the other products start doing poorly, that could really plummet the stock. Apple is really reliant on China, and China is slowing down big time. And on top of that, Apple can't sell any of their older products in China because of the Qualcomm lawsuit against Apple in China, preventing them from selling older products. That's bad. Boeing had the earnings today. Boeing is at a new all-time high. Could be a good short, but it could also go up more. I don't know. It's a gamble. Qualcomm is having their earnings at the end of today. Qualcomm's already plummeted quite a bit. So, I mean, it could go down even further. But I'm really interested in Qualcomm's earnings. And Amazon's also having its earnings at the end of the... Wait, no. It's on January 31st. We'll see where Amazon leads. I'm interested in Amazon's earnings. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for future updates and have a great day. Bye.